Good morning, Retro. I'm Ryan.
I'm Nate, and today we're going to be talking about the arcade feels.
The arcade feels or just the arcade?
The arcade and all the feels that came with it.
Okay, that's better.
Wake up!
Do you miss arcades?
I do miss arcades. I miss the smell, I miss the music, I miss the older kids who were questionable, drug deals in the back corner, dirty hands, coin machines, I miss it all.
Is this your arcade experience?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I thought mine was run down, but apparently...
No, that was actually the Fargo one.
Really?
Yeah, back in the day in the mall there was one. It was quite famous for...
Oh, Pirates Den, right?
Yeah, Pirates Den. They busted people selling out of there several times. Not my local arcade, but had a reputation.
Nice. I actually was watching a video recently of the Game Hunters.
Sure.
So brother-sister duo in Oregon.
Yep.
And they were out and about kind of doing their on-the-hunt stuff that they were doing, and they decided to go check out an arcade.
Nice.
And it was huge. I've never seen an arcade that big. It almost, it was way bigger than a Dave & Buster's, and it was just strictly arcades.
Was this like a known one, like ground control or something? Because they're not in Portland, but they're near that area, right? They're on that coast.
I don't think this was a ground control, but it just kind of got me thinking about arcades a little bit. I thought we should definitely talk about them. Mine was similar, like Pirates Den. I think, was that a big national chain?
I think that was just the one in the mall.
Oh, okay. So Pirates Den, just playing arcade games. Not the arcade games that are out now, where it's you push a button for tickets or tokens or, those, fair type games. But it was straight up arcade games, stuff like that.
And I grew up in a smaller town too, so it wasn't like you had a strictly arcade, but like the bowling alley would have a couple machines, the pizza place would have a couple. We actually did have a Dairy Queen that expanded and had probably 30 arcades for a while.
Wow.
But it's something you can't really explain to people who weren't there, because you don't realize how impressive the arcade was and how great that experience was when the hardware you have at home is better than the arcade.
Right.
Back then, the arcade was such a leap in technology. I mean, it was like playing an Xbox, and all you had sitting at home was an Atari.
Right.
It was just amazing.
Yeah, that's. I think the cost has changed.
Yes.
Going and putting a quarter in, there's that feeling. You put that dollar in, get from the change machine, drop the quarter in, that sound, and now everything. You can swipe your card and spend $6 to play one game. It's so weird. We have a lot of, like a big local sporting goods store called Shields, and they have some arcade units throughout, some of the big ones, like the Cruising USA's or whatever. But it's like $5 a game. And the game lasts the same amount of time as normal arcade games. So when you go waste $1, now it's wasting $40 to play a single game, which just blows my mind now.
Yeah. Well, Dave & Buster's and Chuck E. Cheese, those places are just as guilty. It's $1 to $2 a game, which is crappy. If you got a couple bucks when you were a kid, that was an afternoon worth of fun.
Yep.
If you were decent at a game or two.
Right. Well, now, we're kind of in this age where we're seeing some arcades kind of get off the ground again. And it's very niche for most part. We have one in Fargo here that's tied to a brewery called Pixel.
Yep.
I would say that it should be more known for its arcade games. I think they just have a lot of good ones.
They're also very known for their less than good beer. That's
subpar.
It's the first thing you hear out of everybody's mouth. I love the arcade. The beer though.
Yeah. But that's one that the games are affordable. Yeah. It's like $1 to play, and they have everything, Time Crisis stuff to
Neo Geo,
Killer Queen,
Tron.
Yeah. So, and they're constantly bringing new ones out. So.
And the unfortunate thing is that there's been all these new ones popping up, which is great to see. But over the last couple of years or 18 months, of course, we've lost some. There's been some big historic arcades and pinball museums across the country that just couldn't make it, which is unfortunate, because you don't want to lose that stuff. It's an important piece of history. So.
Yeah. So there's a lot of games out there.
Yeah.
And so when we come back, we are going to talk about maybe some games that you haven't heard of, ones that we get excited about, and maybe ones that we're emulating at home. So emulating at home.
The ones we're emulating at home are the ones I'm excited about.
Emulating at home.
Hey dude! Look in these boxes and you could win all these Ninja Turtle toys and that'll make you grin. We're talking tons of toys and we put inside a free mask you wear with Ninja Turtle pride. Win these awesome toys, they're epic and they're cool. From Ninja Turtle cereal and Cookie Crisp too.
Henry, will you please see what those boys are up to?
Introducing WWF Wrestling Buddies. Wrestling Buddies from Tonka. Punk 'em, bop 'em. Wrestling Buddies are looking for action.
Hey, fellas, what's going on?
Nothing, Dad. Drop kick!
Who do you think you are?
That's Hulk Hogan!
Wrestling Buddies want to be your buddies.
Henry, what's going on up there?
Nothing, dear.
WWF Wrestling Buddies, new from Tonka.
Yeah, the next bitch is at your house.
It was a dark and stormy day. Got the car, got the kid, gotta get through. Good thing my Renegade's got a roof.
Power wheels, power wheels, power wheels. Now I'm driving for real.
Finally spotted Charlie. Rescue underway. Jeep's got what it takes.
Power wheels, power wheels.
Okay, Charlie, you're really in the doghouse.
The new Power Wheels Jeep Renegade. What a way to go.
All right, we're back. So, arcade classics, experiences you can only get in the arcade. There's a few special ones that haven't been ported to anything. Nate, what are some of your favorites? Favorite right now, top of your head.
Gosh, Darius Burst.
Okay.
But it kind of has been ported
Sure. but
to the
that
new
experience.
gen stuff. The experience. So Darius Burst is a cab that you and I played quite a bit.
Yep.
But it is a massive cab. Stands out.
4-player.
4-player. You
Yes.
basically are sitting on a sub.
Yep, and there's flashing cockpit lights.
Yep.
It's a full experience.
It's I would say a Japanese shooter with
Yeah.
heavy Japanese music, like Japanese like
And
K-pop
orchestral
type.
music
Yeah.
too, yeah.
And it's a game that allows you to choose your own path and difficulty, and it's just one that I find that I want to play all the time.
Yeah, it's great.
And to the point where I built one for my basement because I
Yeah.
couldn't afford one. And so I wanted that experience, but it's still not the same. I absolutely love Dairy Burst. What about you?
Capcom Bowling is probably one of my favorite arcade games of all time. You can't really replicate it at home. There's trackball options, but I just love that game. It's like endlessly fun to me. If I could, I would just sit there and play that for hours. It's a simple game, but that control and the animations between frames, when you get a strike and a split, it's great
It's the
stuff.
game that would always like pinch your skin as you're
Right.
rolling over, just like Golden Tee and any of those types of games. I steered clear of those because I've pinched so many times,
Yep.
and not fun at all.
And another one I think we can both agree on, we've talked about it before on some of the other things we do, like our podcast, Cowboys of Moon Mesa, right?
Oh yes,
That game has never been ported to anything.
No.
It's excellent. We've kind of talked about how it's the equivalent almost to Sunset Riders.
Sunset Riders definitely.
Amazing art style. You get to choose your own levels. It's not overly challenging, which is crazy for an arcade game. Usually they're quarter munchers. Not that this one won't do that,
Yeah.
but yeah, love it. Love
Yeah,
it.
and that's one. I mean, a lot of people don't have the Cowboys of Moo Mesa experience. The cartoon. We actually did a whole series on Cowboys
Yes.
of Moo Mesa. You guys aren't missing much, but
No.
it was a really random arcade game that they,
Yes.
that was like the era of The Simpsons and all of these like really big things. So for Cowboys of Moo Mesa to actually get a cab was
Yeah, well, and there was some affiliation with some of the creators from TMNT, right?
Yep.
So I think there was that whole expectation that we're going to launch this,
And it's gonna be
and we're
big.
going to get the money train going right after it,
Yep.
and it just didn't quite pan out.
No, so there's some. I almost was able to buy a cab for $200 at a bowling alley, and I laughed at them thinking they were joking. And I went back to really see if they were serious. Like a few months later,
Yep.
they sold it for a couple $100. So missed
That's
that
a
one.
bummer.
There are some very, very weird arcade games that they don't get a lot of attention. Is there one that maybe you can think of that's off the top of your head?
No, I mean, you went weird, but I've never played this. There's that game in Japan where you control the game. There's the bezel is an anus, and then you have a hand with a finger that you insert, and that's how you It's a real thing. Google it. I mean, maybe
Don't.
go incognito. Don't do this on your work computer or personal
What
device.
in
but
the world?
I don't know. But as soon as you said weird, that's like.
I was going with something
Sorry.
more like cutesy fun.
Never played it, but
oh man.
look for the finger in the butt game, I guess.
Oh my gosh.
How about you? Something rational.
When I emulate at home a lot, I play Go-Go Mile Smile.
Okay.
And so it's this weird cutesy Japanese risk reward game where you're this egg and you have to kind of run around a board on the outskirts, and then you jump out and grab all these other eggs.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
then
yeah,
you
I
push a
played
button and you shoot back really fast as
Yep.
enemies are traversing towards you. And that's one that not a lot of people talk about because it's so weird.
Yeah.
I actually completed the game not too long ago,
Nice.
and at the end I was like, why did I complete this game? Normally you have good fun for 10 minutes, but I put way more than that into it.
You know, one real suggestion, I'll talk about something
Good.
that is legitimate and not weird. One that doesn't get brought up a lot because it's just a ripoff of a game is I own a copy of Hangly Man.
Oh,
Which is a 70s cocktail.
I was there when we picked
tabletop.
it up.
Yeah, so I thought I was buying a bootleg Pac-Man, and it is, but it's not Pac-Man, it's Hangly Man, which is very clearly Pac-Man, except it's got this awesome twist where the maze starts to disappear. So it's got all the cutscenes, it's got all the ghosts, all of that, the fruit, but then the maze just opens up over the course of 4 stages until you're just playing one wide open, full screen.
That's awesome.
It's weird, it's addictive, just like Pac-Man, and it's kind of a nice twist.
I think you and I were disappointed when we bought it, or you bought it.
Yep.
I helped load it. We unload it, and you're like, this isn't real. This isn't.
Yeah.
I just bought a Pac-Man cab that's
Luckily,
not Pac-Man, but
it's
it's
very
actual. It's a legit.
Yeah.
It's
I think,
a legit game.
what did I pay for it? $200, I think? So
Yeah.
you could pass that.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Lots of arcade memories. I'm sure you have a ton of them. Let us know down in the comments below. We love that dialogue back and forth.
Yeah. And until next time,
See ya.
see ya.